Hey guys, just a quick rant video. It's one of those topics that's not really important at all, but it's one of those occasions where I think there's some bullshit and we need to say that's bullshit, just to balance out the bullshit in the world. What triggered this was Russia Today. The last 3 videos that Russia Today released on YouTube were drone footage, and Russia Today seemed to be loving the drone footage. Just about every second story that they do has got drone footage in it. And they're not the only people doing it, there's other people doing it too. And it's just, the reason it's bullshit is that calling it a drone is a bit of a compliment, a bit generous really, isn't it? Because all it is like a $400 remote control aircraft, and that technology's been around forever. And then they screw a GoPro camera with a fisheye lens to the bottom of it. So you've got like an $800 piece of equipment, and they send it up in the air and get some drone footage. But the reason it's bullshit is you end up with some pretty crappy video anyway, because it's just a cheap GoPro, same as the rest of us use. And I mean, we're just YouTubers, whereas Russia Today is supposed to be a legitimate news program, as are a lot of the other guys that are using these drone footages. It should be called Toy Aeroplane with a Camera. Toy Aeroplane with a cheap camera footage. Calling it drone footage sort of makes it seem somehow more special than it is. And the other reason it's bullshit is that most of the time, particularly in urban type environments, they would have got much better footage if they'd taken their real TV camera and gone up in a nearby building and videoed it using their quality TV camera from a building or from a nearby hill, or from, there's almost always, and you can see as the drone footage shows, there usually is buildings and hills and other places around the place where they could take their real TV camera like they used to and get up and actually get some good footage with a real camera so we can actually see something. Because the GoPro camera up at 500 feet underneath the cheap remote controlled aircraft doesn't really give good images anyway. It's sort of like they're lazy. They're not going to try and find a good vantage point for their camera. And it also seems that people like RT seem to have this novelty value from the drone footage. They think that it's somehow a bit special. Here's drone footage of this fire, and here's this, and really their aim should be to find good quality images for us so we can see what's going on in the news story. And going up a building or going up a nearby hill, or using a boom, or one of the other technologies that legitimate news services use, would give us better images, which is really what it should be about. Whereas you get the distinct impression with RT, and it's almost always in the title. Is the technology used to take the images really worth putting in the title? Some important sort of thing like a bombing in a small town where lots of people died, and RT's title actually says drone footage of bombing in wherever it was, which is, it's a bit crass really, isn't it? Talking about the technology they use to take the cheap images instead of talking about how many people died in this terrible event. You know what I mean? It sort of seems like someone who's in charge at RT really loves the drone footage thing and thinks it's all a bit special, and it's not. I mean, the technology that's gone into that's really old. It's just a remote controlled aeroplane with a cheap camera underneath. Fucking get over it. Give the drone footage a rest, you wankers. More videos coming soon.